Hey guys, it's a beautiful day here out at Watkins Glen. Today we're out here testing out the 24-70 Sigma lens for Sony cameras. Now this is my favorite lens when I'm out here hiking and backpacking, and one of the reasons why is because I don't have to take more than one lens. Changing lenses on trail can be risky, you can get debris in your sensor, debris in the lens, and I just don't want to risk that. That being said, I find the 24-70 focal length perfect for nature photography. I got that 70mm zoom if I see an animal or a bird that I want to take a photo of. And 24mm is honestly wide enough for most nature shots. Anyways guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take this out on trail right now and take some nature photography shots. There's some waterfalls up here that I'm excited to take long exposure shots of. And if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about the technical specs of this lens, just stay tuned. I'll post that a little bit later in the video, but right now I want to take some photos. Alright guys, so I made it down to the creek and it seems like the main waterfall is that way. There's no other way to get down to the creek except from probably a quarter mile back. So I have to make it up this stream without getting my camera gear wet. I don't really care if my feet get wet. So wish me luck. It's very beautiful though. Look at that. Maybe take a shot right there. Framing it with the fallen tree. Yeah, one thing I like about the Sigma is that it's an f2.8. So that means in a scenario like this, you can see it's a little dark. Midday, but it's still a little dark out just because of the canopy. So I should be able to get a nice shot in this area just because of how much light exposure I can get out of the f2.8 f-stop. All right, I almost slipped, so I'm gonna put this camera down and try and make my way back there. Okay, so this is not the main waterfall, but I do like how it's just like cascading into that little pool there. It's like sliding, not really a waterfall. So I'm gonna try and take some shots of this. I'm gonna get this camera set up somewhere where it's not gonna fall. I'm gonna cry. Wish me luck. There's like literally nowhere to put this thing. Let me put it up there. Yeah, I don't know if these leaves are getting in the way. Just like trim back some of this stuff. All right. So that waterfall right there is what I'm gonna try and capture a decent image of. I don't wanna get my tripod out here. So I'm just gonna try and be really still and only have an exposure for like 1/4 of a second or 1/8 of a second. In-body image stabilization on the Sony a7R III should be enough that it's not gonna distort the image too much and it shouldn't be too blurry. Let's see what we can get here. All right guys, so here we're gonna do f8 ISO 100 exposure 1/8 of a second. And see what we can get. There's some actually really pretty pink flowers here. They're really small. I'm gonna see if I can get these in the foreground with the waterfall in the background. There's at least one decent one there. Again, no tripod, so it's gonna look a little blurry. Hopefully it comes out all right. All right, let's try and make it down further. And this is honestly the only way I'm making it up the rest. Take my shoes off, try and walk up the water. Wish me luck. All right guys, so made it to Excelsior Falls here. It's very beautiful, it's very remote, not many people. There's no one around. I'm gonna whip out the tripod, try and get some really good shots of this waterfall. I'll put this camera in the background while I take some shots. Yes, sorry guys, my audio broke there. I don't know what happened, but this photo came out pretty good. The exposure was just long enough to get a nice glassy look at the waterfall, not too much to be overkill. The light bouncing off the long exposed water looked pretty nice, and I'm pretty happy with this shot. Okay, yeah, this place is actually really cool. It's very mystical almost, like you would see it in a video game or something. I like walking around along this right here. Like a little path up the creek. It's just so cool. As I have my tripod set up here, I'm getting some pretty good shots. It's coming out pretty good. The lighting went away that I was really looking for. At one point, it was like glowing. I don't know if I got any shots of that were good. You know, there's cloud coverage today, so you're just gonna get in and out. But I wanted to show you guys this waterfall up close in the video. Got my tripod set up there in the water. Not gonna lie, a little scared, but it's fine. It's gonna be fine. All right. So here's the waterfall. This is Excelsior Falls. Not the biggest, but it's very pretty. Again, if you want to check this out, it's Watkins Glen, New York. All right, so next part of this video, we're gonna go ahead and target some detail shots. I'm gonna get some flowers, some leaves, something to show the normal focal range. And then we'll head back to the office to wrap this video up and talk about some of the tech specs. All right, see what detail shots we can find, guys. All right, so actually I've been here for about another hour after I stopped that last comment. I think I'm just gonna do detail shots here. I really like this place. I'm gonna stay here for a while. So there's some flowers, some leaves going along the water here. Maybe we'll take some detail shots of little small waterfalls and really see how good this lens, the Sigma lens, is at for detail shots. All right, we're gonna set my camera up somewhere again and see what we can get. The good thing about this moss is it's actually pretty grippy. All right, let's see what we can get here. So we're gonna switch it to manual focus here. There's a switch on the Sigma lens, which I'll talk about a little bit more later in the video, that makes it really easy and really nice to get a quick manual focus shot instead of going in through the settings and do it manually. But like, it's not that bad if you don't have it. It's just a nice quality of life thing. I really like it. Yeah, so I'm really liking how those are coming out. All right, let's go find a waterfall here. Maybe this one right here, actually. Yeah, that should work. All right, let's just turn this camera around here. All right, guys, so that's it for the photography part of this video. We're gonna go ahead and get back to the office and talk a little bit more about this lens, go over some of the details and the tech specs of the lens, and wrap up the video. See you there. Anyways, guys, back to the review. The Sigma 2470 f2.8. Now, just so you guys know, this is a review of just why I like this lens for nature photography and hiking. I'll be doing a more in-detail review of this lens as far as pixel peeping and more of the technical specs and the nitty-gritty of this lens in a later video. But I really wanted to just go over why I love this lens for backpacking and hiking. So I'm just gonna go over a couple of the really big perks that I really like about this lens. First is the price point. This baby is only about $1,000. I think I found it used on Amazon for $900 or $800, I don't really remember. But for that price, for this quality, you can't beat that. The counterpart to this lens is a Sony G Master lens, and that runs about $2,500, and that's kind of breaking the budget. And I don't want to take a $2,500 lens out in the woods hiking and backpacking. I'm sure the quality of that is a little bit better than this lens, but it's not going to be that noticeable for nature photography unless you're doing like really focused and planned out landscape photography. But even then, this lens is going to do just fine with that as well. And as I mentioned before, the zoom range of this lens is 24 millimeters at the smallest and 70 millimeters at the largest. Speaking about the zoom on this lens, it has a nice rubbery grip for the zoom, which makes it nice and easy to really find the correct focal length you're looking for the shot that you want. And as far as manual focus goes, it has the same rubber ring to really chime in on the focus point that you want, which is really nice. Speaking about manual focus, that has a really nice feature that I find great for nature photography because you don't want to be really messing with camera settings when you're focusing on hiking. It has an autofocus on and off switch, as you can see right here. And if you want to put autofocus on, you just have it up, manual focus down, denote it as the MF and AF options. It also has an AFL button, which I don't honestly ever use. And the other cool feature that I like as far as like actual buttons on this lens is the lock function. Now it's a very light lock, but if you're hiking and walking up and down like hills and rocks and stuff like that, you don't really want this to be bouncing back and forth like that. So just locking it in place while you are hiking with it on your backpack, it's gonna keep it nice and safe and not really wear on the zoom feature of the lens. This lens also has an aperture f2.8, so it performs pretty well in low light scenarios. I find, if I have a landscape that I want and it's a little bit cloudy out, or if I'm under a really deep cover of canopy of trees, I don't really lose the shot because I can just open this aperture up to f2.8 and get the shot that I want as long as it's mounted on a tripod. It looks pretty good. Speaking of mounting on a tripod, it does help quite a bit. It does not have stabilization in the lens. Now, I primarily use the Sony a7R III, and that has IBIS, so that helps quite a bit. But I imagine that if you had IBIS plus stabilization in the lens, it's gonna just be magnificent. I've yet to test that. I don't have an stabilized lens yet. Eventually I'll get one, but honestly, for what I'm doing, photography in the woods, stuff like that, not really need it. I really haven't shot a wedding or an event where it's really caused any problems. The only thing that would be nice is if I was doing handheld video, having the combination of IBIS and also optical steady shot on your lens would be kind of nice. And lastly, I want to touch on the build quality. It's a pretty sturdy lens. It feels very premium. It has weather sealing ring right here, which is really nice, especially if you're in the woods and hiking and backpacking. The only thing I don't like about taking this lens as opposed to a G Master lens is this zoom is exposed. So dirt might get in here, water might get in there from near a waterfall. The G Master lenses, they have a zoom that's fully engulfed in the lens, which is nice. But then again, I don't want to really fork up $2,500 for a lens if I'm hiking in the woods with a lens. Anyways, guys, that's a brief overview of the 24-70mm Sigma lens. I plan on doing a more detailed review of this later on. I want to get diving into picture quality, really zooming in to see if you have any vignetting, how the bokeh looks in the background and all that kind of stuff, and pixel peeping on photos and getting really kind of like critical in the lens, see if we can find any flaws with it. But honestly, for the price point of $1,000, perfect lens for beginning photographers, even advanced photographers. It doesn't really matter. I really love the lens, and I'll probably look to other Sigma products down the line. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. My next video will be dropping Friday, so stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys later.